In the high-stakes world of Formula One, a single decision can shatter championship dreams. At the 2025 Italian Grand Prix, McLaren made a call that would send shockwaves through the paddock and ignite a firestorm that threatens to tear their title campaign apart. What started as a routine pit stop strategy has exploded into the biggest controversy of the season, with accusations of favoritism, eroding trust, and a championship leader who feels betrayed by his own team. Picture this: Oscar Piastri, the young Australian sensation leading the championship, executes a perfect pit stop in 1.9 seconds. His teammate Lando Norris follows, but disaster strikes. A stuck wheel nut costs him 4 precious seconds. Racing purists would call this the natural order of things, but McLaren had other ideas. "Give the position back to Lando," came the shocking radio call to Piastri. His response cut through the tension like a knife. "Slow pit stops have always been part of racing, so why is this different?" Those words would echo through the following weeks, haunting McLaren's every move. F1 analyst James Richardson puts it bluntly: "What we witnessed at Monza wasn't just about track position. It was about trust between a team and their championship leader being sacrificed for corporate principles. In Formula One, that's a dangerous game to play." The fallout was immediate and severe. Mark Webber, himself a veteran of intra-team politics, emerged as Piastri's most vocal defender. Having lived through similar dynamics during his own career, Webber's criticism carries extra weight. What we're seeing here is a young driver who's earned his position through pure talent being forced to pay for circumstances beyond his control. Webber declared in a scathing post-race interview, "The telemetry doesn't lie. Oscar was faster, cleaner, and absolutely deserved to keep that position." McLaren's racing director Andrea Stella attempted to justify the decision through what he called principles-based management, but his corporate explanation only fueled the fire. "The pit sequence was arranged for the team's overall benefit," Stella insisted. Restoring the original order was the fair thing to do. Yet for many in the paddock, this explanation rang hollow. Former world champion Damon Hill decided to put it to the test, running a poll that delivered a devastating verdict. An overwhelming majority of fans opposed McLaren's decision. "Team orders are part of F1, Hill noted, "but there's a hierarchy of acceptance. What McLaren did at Monza, that's at the bottom of the list." The psychological impact on Piastri has been evident in every press appearance since that fateful Sunday. While maintaining professional composure, body language experts have noted clear signs of frustration and disappointment. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a sports psychologist who has worked with multiple F1 teams, explains, "When a driver executes perfectly but still loses out due to team decisions, it creates a dangerous cocktail of emotions. The trust deficit can grow exponentially if not addressed properly." The championship mathematics make this situation even more precarious. Piastri's lead has been cut to 31 points with 8 races remaining. Former F1 technical director James Anderson puts it in perspective. "In modern F1, that's not just 3 points lost, it's momentum. We've seen championships turn on smaller margins than this." For Australian motorsport fans, the stakes couldn't be higher. Piastri has already matched Webber's 9 wins and surpassed Daniel Ricciardo's 8. He's chasing the legends, Alan Jones, Jack Brabham, and more significantly, pursuing his first world championship. If successful, he'd be the first non-European champion since Jacques Villeneuve in 1997. McLaren now faces a fundamental crisis of identity. Racing director Peter Thompson, who has analysed team dynamics for over 2 decades, observes, "They're caught between 2 philosophies, racing purity versus championship management. Pure racing accepts luck, good or bad, as part of the sport. Championship management tries to control every variable. McLaren hasn't decided which master they serve." The comparison to Red Bull's handling of their drivers in 2010 becomes increasingly relevant. Unlike that situation, McLaren lacks clear institutional favoritism, a distinction that team strategist Sarah Walker believes is crucial. Without established hierarchies, every decision becomes a precedent. Every call carries extra weight because it shapes future expectations. Recent developments suggest the controversy isn't dying down, in fact it's evolving. Piastri's latest comments maintain a diplomatic tone but carry an edge. "We have enough freedom to control our own destiny in the championship," he stated. The emphasis on enough speaking volumes. Meanwhile, Norris has pushed back against suggestions of preferential treatment, admitting he admires the sharp edge of drivers like Verstappen and wants to win his own way. As tensions continue to simmer, McLaren faces mounting pressure to clarify their position. In a closed-door meeting at their Woking headquarters, the team has reportedly conducted extensive internal reviews, desperately seeking to prevent further fractures in their championship campaign. But for many observers, the damage may already be done. Racing psychologist Dr. Emma Bennett notes, "What we're witnessing is classic cognitive dissonance. The team is trying to rationalize a decision that contradicts basic racing principles, while the drivers must maintain public unity despite private misgivings. This creates enormous psychological strain." The controversy has taken on new dimensions as details emerge about the unconventional pit stop sequencing that preceded the infamous team order. McLaren's decision to pit their second-placed car before the race leader broke with traditional strategy. Former pit wall strategist Michael Cooper explains, "That decision alone raised eyebrows. In F1, you typically protect your lead car's track position. McLaren inverted this principle, then compounded it with the position swap. Toto Wolff, Mercedes team principal and never one to miss an opportunity to stir the pot, called McLaren's actions a difficult precedent. His carefully chosen words resonated through the paddock. When you start managing natural racing outcomes, you're no longer racing, you're choreographing." The Azerbaijan Grand Prix looms large on the horizon, with all eyes fixed on how McLaren handles the pressure. Team insiders reveal extensive discussions aimed at refining their approach, but skepticism remains. Veteran F1 journalist Claire Matthews observes, "They're trying to thread an impossible needle, maintaining team harmony while letting their drivers race freely. Something has to give." McLaren's racing director Andrea Stella continues to defend their principles-based management style, but his latest statements suggest a subtle shift. "We understand the need for clearer communication and consistency in our decision-making," he admitted in a recent press conference. "Every situation is unique, but our drivers deserve to know exactly where they stand." The parallels to past championship battles grow stronger with each passing day. F1 historian Robert Blake draws an interesting comparison. In 1986, we saw Williams tear themselves apart trying to manage Mansell and Piquet. McLaren risks repeating history if they don't find the right balance between team control and driver freedom. The stakes couldn't be higher for Piastri. With 8 races remaining, his 31-point lead suddenly feels precarious. Technical analyst Sarah Williams breaks down the mathematics. In modern F1, with sprint races and fastest lap points, a 31-point gap can evaporate in 2 race weekends. McLaren's management of this situation could define their entire season. Fan reaction continues to intensify, with social media analysis showing unprecedented engagement levels around the controversy. Digital metrics expert James Foster reveals, "We're seeing engagement patterns typically reserved for championship-deciding incidents. The fans aren't just watching anymore, they're invested emotionally in this drama." McLaren's attempt to maintain business as usual faces another challenge: sponsor scrutiny. Corporate partnerships expert Victoria Chen explains, "Major sponsors invest in F1 teams based on performance and image. When team decisions generate this level of controversy, it creates ripples beyond the track. McLaren needs to demonstrate strong leadership to maintain stakeholder confidence." The pressure on both drivers shows in subtle ways. Body language expert Dr. Thomas Reed notes, "During recent press conferences, we've observed increased tension indicators from both Piastri and Norris. Their responses are measured, but their non-verbal cues tell a different story, one of underlying stress and uncertainty." As the championship enters its crucial phase, McLaren faces a defining moment. Racing strategist Mark Anderson puts it bluntly, they have 2 choices: double down on their principles-based approach and risk further controversy, or adapt their strategy to prioritize racing purity. Either way, their decision will echo through the remaining races. The wider Formula One community watches with intense interest, recognizing that McLaren's handling of this situation could influence how team orders are managed across the sport. Former FIA official Richard Turner suggests, "We're seeing a fundamental clash between old-school racing values and modern championship management. How McLaren navigates this will set precedents for years to come." For Piastri, the personal stakes transcend mere points. as he chases history, aiming to become the first non-European champion since 1997. Every decision carries extra weight. Sports historian Dr. Linda Martinez reflects, "We're watching potential history unfold. The question is whether it will be remembered for the right reasons." The countdown to Azerbaijan intensifies with each passing day. McLaren's recent internal reviews promise refined guidelines and clearer communication, but the real test will come under race conditions. Team dynamics specialist Peter Walsh observes, "It's one thing to set policies in the calm of the factory, it's another to maintain them in the heat of battle."